doesn't matter whether it was on the bounce or not. It was just a good, solid performance, I thought. Yeah, pleased. I was pleased with the way the players went about the whole match. They're having a real dig, Wakefield. They did last week, and they have been a lot. If you watch their games, they're no easy beats. They're going to be tougher whoever plays them this year. They're getting more and more determined to get that elusive win that they're looking for, and they've still got a couple to catch my record yet, but so I hope they can leave it another week or two. But my boys were fully committed. You could see that from the start. I've just done a BBC interview and they asked me about the scoreline at half time. I didn't care about the scoreline at half time. I cared about the commitment that the team showed to one another and to each other and to the cause and to the game, and to their badge. I loved it. They were fully committed. They were, there was some times they were on the rack down there and they were just covering for each other, turning up for one another and making sure our opponents didn't cross our try line. Real pride in our try line. I didn't see that early in the season, not in the same way. As we spoke about in there. So first up, and I like some of the early attacking plays that we put on in that game too. I thought it did some damage, even though it didn't score points for us. I thought the points would come later because of some of the pressure that we put our opponents under with some of those good plays. So I was quite happy with the scoreline, didn't care about the scoreline. It was the rest of it that I thought we'd done a pretty solid job there. And turned out right. Yes, we did score some more points in the second half and some good stuff, some really good tries. I liked watching the outside backs running into space and looking smooth and interchange of passes and supporting one another. I love those sort of rugby league tries, and we saw a couple of those. But I still saw a committed team in defence, despite the scoreline. And I saw the disappointment when we had our one mess up in where we allowed our opponents to get in and score. So it's a good reminder. It's a good reminder for us. But no, I was pleased for the players. They're working really hard for one another, and it becomes contagious. They don't want to let each other down. So if you don't let the person down next to you, or they're not letting you down, you've got to turn up for the other person. So that's where they're at the moment. So please, hopefully we can keep that sort of attitude and that commitment to each other going.
How's Davey looking?
I think okay. Davey on the sideline, when I got around there, said he probably could have kept going. He's never really had an ankle problem before, and he's just twisted his ankle. He said his words were he probably panicked a little bit. By the end of it, he was just feeling better. As to how bad it is, I'm not sure. I haven't had a chance to really sit down with the physio and get them to assess it, but he doesn't think it's as bad as it may have looked.
Liam Sutcliffe with a classy performance now, 6 tries. You just mentioned outside backs in your first question. What are your thoughts on him?
Yeah, he was good. He looks silky smooth when he's got some space and and he's got a person to beat. I say about Suddy, sometimes he's changed of direction. He has a change of direction rather than a big step, and it looks smooth. I like watching it. I loved watching him cut back inside down there for his try, and it's sort of everybody. He just stepped into some space. He glided into some space. So he was good. I thought Carlos was good as well. He's getting better. Both our centres are getting better each week, and thought they would. Some of our combinations are getting better, and they will still. My criticism of ourselves, I didn't think our last plays, particularly first half, were great. We either overkicked a little or some of our kicks were a little short, you know, and didn't go deep enough. So we weren't quite nailing it, and when we get to that stage, or when we start to nail our last plays, and I thought they got a bit better in the second half, but we still got some work to do on that. The two old, if you're not going to ask any more about plays, the two old guys for me, those Houghton and Taylor, I thought were terrific again, really do. Scott, I'm pleased, he told me that's his 50th try. He knows, he can tell you each one of them and describe them to you, talk you through them one by one. Delighted for him. Some of his defence there was, you know, enormous in that first half. There was a couple of times where, you know, I wasn't sure he was going to make it there, and he did. So, you know, those old legs of his keep working hard, and he's still a handful. He's a big man who he's a handful that, as he proves close to the try line, he's strong. He carries people around on him, you know, for fun. And delighted for him in his testimonial year as well. And Denny Houghton, I took him off because the game at that stage I thought was safe enough to get some more fresh legs on there and keep his legs fresh for next game, because I think he's doing a terrific job. He played a fair bit of loose forward there, but a ball playing loose forward or almost halfback. You know, he's running for fun out there, and when he gets into that position as well. And yeah, I thought Mint was terrific too. But there was hard to fault too many of them. The two Jakes, they'll get better and better together as well. It's good to have them out there, and I thought their combinations were pretty decent as well.
What about those who came into your side then, Joe Ladura and Jack Brown?
I thought they both contributed well. It was good for them to get some footy. That's why Jack went back out there and got another stint. So for Joey, you know, we changed our team this morning. We had a bit of sickness in the camp this week, so there was one call yesterday and another call today on players. So it hasn't been an easy week for the players in that respect, but they took it in their stride. It was good. It was good that they were able to cope with that and handle those late-minute changes. We practice that way and hope for when, you know, these sort of things do happen, that everybody's able to step in and do their job, and they did tonight. I was pleased for both Jack and Joey, and even, you know, Dance to, you know, get that last 10 minutes. He was going to come on for Swifty, had Davey not got injured, so he would have got at least a 10-minute run out there tonight. But grateful for the coverage that he gave us there.
What's the belief and the confidence in the side's been here throughout this year, regardless if you've been winning or losing. But now that you're winning, how much of a notch does that go on?
Yeah, it helps. You know, it's happy. We're always happier sitting in the changing room when you can look over at each other and go, hey, we put in a stint for each other and we won. That's the goal of every rugby league player. So yeah, absolutely, it's much more enjoyable, that's for sure. But you know, I'm pleased for the players, and I'm pleased for the fans. Once again, we're still in debt, by the way. We've still got a lot of repaying to do for some of those earlier results that we got. You know, we've still got more to convince and more, you know, more to build on. And we know that it's not going to be an easy task. Every week's a tough one. I'm also really, you know, I didn't say it last week, but to the owner and chief exec and the support given by them as well to everybody. They've been behind the scenes trying to support and help everybody to stay together when it's been tough, and to unite and work through it and stay calm. And they've been terrific. They've been terrific. So I didn't mention them last week. I'm going to this week, because I think it's really important. If the people at the top are all united, it gives you some chance. If they're not, you know, that's when it becomes tough work for everybody. So yeah, good on them.
Now it's good to hear because won the past 2 weeks before tonight, they don't get mentioned. You only get mentioned.
Oh no. Oh yeah, they cop all the bad stuff. That's I don't think that's right. They've been really supportive of the team and players and coaches. So and that's, I'm not one to suck up to people. It's just how it is, and I believe in that. If you're all united, well, you stand a chance. And I keep saying it about all of us. The club, the fans, the supporters, the whole lot. The only way you get out of these, situations that you don't necessarily want to be in is by uniting and working together and pulling in the same direction. That's the only way to do it.
Well, good. You mentioned your record in the past that you want to lose. When you make that run, how do you cope with that and knowing that next week it's another loss?
The positivity. I loved it. I love that period. I love that test of your resilience and see how tough you can be and see how positive you can be. Throw more at me and let's bounce into work on a Monday morning after another loss. Come on, till we get it right. Some people crumble on that or go running. I had that early in my career, which stood me in great stead, and it taught me many lessons about turning up and walking through the door and with your shoulders back and ready to go and ready to pull people together in terms of being optimistic, realistic, honest. But it was an enjoyable period of time. I made some of my best and closest relationships with players and staff in that year. That they're still in contact with me and remember all the what people would picture as doom and gloom was totally the opposite. Totally the opposite. We all become positive and strong and resilient, and we helped one another through it.
I'll just ask one thing.
Yes.
Obviously, going into the Challenge Cup next week, which is a knockout tournament, how important is it to be going into that on the back of 3 victories rather than defeats?
It helps, but it wouldn't have mattered. Listen, whenever you have a win, it makes you feel better. But that'll all get put to bed now. We just address each week as a new week. Whether we've won the last 3 or lost the last 10, it would have been if we didn't win these last 3. We would have still turned up exactly like I just said, explained it, and really positive and had a really positive week to prepare for the Challenge Cup. Does it help? Yes, I'm not going to deny it, but our approach would still be the same. The Challenge Cup is important to our club. It's got a really proud history, our club, in the Challenge Cup. I love the Challenge Cup for a few reasons you may imagine as well. I just think it's a fantastic, romantic way of winning the competition. It is. The romance of the cup is always there. It doesn't matter where you are in the table of Super League. And the first year I won it with the club that I was coaching, I think we finished 9th or 10th that year, but we won the Challenge Cup. Fantastic.